Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks so much for coming along. It's the first chair yoga class of the year. So if you've made it this far, then a wholehearted congratulations. You can see this is the 36th chair yoga class. So we did quite a lot of them last year. If you're new, then yeah, welcome. Welcome. You'll get used to this really quickly. We'll generally move a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of reading that we do sometimes, or I do read to you, right? But there's plenty of movement, a little bit of breath work, and then a little bit of time at the end just to settle everything down and just notice what we've created, I guess. You know, if you are new to yoga, then maybe dispel all of those ideas that, you know, you can't do it well, or you're not good at it, or your body's not right for it, right? It's all stuff that you can let go, because yoga is a practice for everybody, right? Wherever we are, however we're feeling, whatever our body's doing today, there's something that we can always do. And I think as we go through, you know, the first few months of the year, getting into those sort of like healthy patterns, and I'm not talking about resolutions or anything like that. I'm just talking about maybe, you know, changing just a few things that we're not doing, right? And sort of stepping into some things that sometimes, you know, challenge us or scare us even, right? And that can be just a regular practice. And it doesn't have to be this yoga stuff, right? We do stuff in the chair on a Monday and Tuesday. We do stuff on the mat on a Thursday, but there's lots more content on the virtual village hall. You know, Max has been on today and he's done meditation. I know April was in yesterday doing Pilates, and then there's another chair yoga class, not every Friday, sorry. I think it's twice a month, or at least once a month, for mobility disorders as well. So there's lots and lots of stuff, and then HIIT classes, and then things that we're using our brains, right? So language and tap and dance, loads and loads of stuff. So well done. I'm going to read a little bit from this book called Grounded by Ruth Allen, who is a therapist, and she talks a lot about nature therapy. So I'm just going to read half of it today, and then might come back to it next week. So why don't we do this before we settle? Maybe just become grounded. What does that mean? Well, you know, as you sit here, you see I've got a blanket out in front of me today because it's rather cold, isn't it? I was going to say something a bit ruder than that, but it is rather cold. So kind of bring your feet down and see if you can lengthen your spine. And what do I mean there? I mean, just kind of drawing up from the navel and then relaxing your shoulders. So you've got a lot of room to breathe into this part of your body, right? Your belly, your chest, your shoulders are relaxed. And then find somewhere for the hands to go. Now, you can do this leaning back in the chair. That's absolutely fine. Support your back on the chair. But what I do, and I'll just show you very briefly, is I'll sit forward on my chair, so I'm sat more like this, right? Not that I do this all the time, but when I'm practicing chair yoga, I want to bring this length into my spine. I don't want to kind of like collapse too much like this. I want to be in this kind of shape. So alignment's not hugely important, but it can kind of guide the way that we practice. So you guys remain as you found yourself, and not just blankets bring in warmth, right? They bring a lovely amount of texture underneath your feet. So we kind of experiment with these things. So being grounded, putting your feet on the ground like we're doing now, sitting or standing up straight with a sense your weight is pushing downwards into the earth or down into your chair. Perhaps moving one foot in front of the other in a slow walk if you can. These are the simplest ways of making contact with both yourself and the rest of nature, of grounding. Making contact is the most direct way to be connected, to be in a relationship with yourself and also the living planet. Grounding is a physical act, a technique, a method, a practice in pursuit of a particular destination. To be grounded is to have arrived at a solid place in the present. To be grounded is to come home to yourself, to nature. Being grounded is a concept that encompasses a nebulous range of qualities that we might attribute to a person who is approaching, living, and experiencing their life in a particular way. It's something you can be in the moment, but also something you can practice your whole life. It's a difficult concept to describe in theory. being more easily recognized in a person either by its absence or by bringing to mind someone you know who embodies grounded qualities. To be grounded is a way of being gestalt that encompasses emotional states and responses, our relationship with others, our beliefs about the world and ourselves, and our approach to living. It is no doubt more besides. You can understand being grounded as a facet of our general well-being, just as being grounded describes the holistic solidity of a person in their life. The concept of well-being seeks to describe an overall sense of physical, psychological, and social wellness, and that goes beyond the simple absence of illness or disease. And just finally, in 2008, the New Economics Foundation highlighted 5 key actions linked to well-being that also correlate with the pursuit of becoming grounded. So to connect, to be active, to take notice, to keep learning, and to give. So we can do all of those things with the virtual village hall, right? To be active, to connect, to take notice, to keep learning, and to give. By connecting with nature, we become more connected to ourselves. And that's kind of a simple way of thinking about this practice of yoga, right? Just being a little more connected to yourself. That doesn't mean that it has to be super physical or we have to do a lot of work. In fact, if we sat here, right, and we just brought our hands, on our knees like this, we could stay here for longer and just be still, and we could turn it into a little meditation practice. But you've done a bit of that today earlier, maybe with Max. So what we'll do is move a little bit more. So take a couple more rounds of breath and notice how your breath feels within your body. It's a really big part of our yoga practice. And if you can, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through your nose. It's that time of year though, right, where it's very cold, so our noses run a little bit more. Mine certainly does. If it's not available to breathe in and out of your nose, you're struggling with a cold or a virus, then breathe in and out through your mouth. It doesn't have to be too prescriptive, this stuff. And then when you're ready, we're just going to begin to move, right? It's probably time to do that. So inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Nice, simple practice today. We're not going to do a huge amount. We're just going to bring some foundations in. As you exhale, bring the hands all the way back down. As I say, if you can use your nose, great. If you use your mouth, just as good, right? Inhaling, bringing the arms up, exhaling, combing the arms down. Nice. Relax your face, relax your shoulders as you carry on with this movement. Inhaling up, reaching up from the waist, shoulders are relaxed, you have a bend in the elbows. Exhale, bring the hands all the way down. You kind of notice how this affects your physicality, right? It's work. We're moving the body out. Notice those aches and strains that you probably picked up over Christmas or over years, right? This is a new way of moving for some of us. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, comb the arms down. Let all the breath leave the body. Let's do 2 more like that. Inhale up. Exhale down. And final time, inhale up. And exhale down. Nice, beautiful work. All right. Bring the hands onto the knees, maybe on your thighs, wherever they land, and maybe just shrug your shoulders out a little bit. Don't worry about what this looks like, right? Just kind of move your body out. And one thing I should have said, especially this time of year, I'm a massive believer in tea. So make sure you've got something like tea, or maybe it's water, right? I've got a nice decaf tea in here today, so I'm going to have a little sip. Feel free to sip and lubricate yourself as you go through the class. All right, let's do a little twist. So you might need to adjust your seat a little bit. So feel free to kind of just move around. Nice sturdy chair. Inhale to sweep the arms up. And then exhale, you're going to twist to the right. So bring your left hand on your right knee. Your right hand, if you find the side of the chair, if your chair's like that, great. Inhale to find length. And then exhale into your twist. If you can't hold the side of the chair, maybe bring your right hand onto your right hip. So rolling that right shoulder back. Every inhale, find length. Every exhale into your twist. 2 more like that. Inhale in, finding length. Exhale, twist. And 1 more time. Nice deep inhale. And a full exhale. Nice. When you're ready, inhale, bring the arms all the way back up. Nice and familiar already. Like reach up. This time, clasp the hands. Exhale, round your spine. Push the palms forward. So you get into that seated cat-cow. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to round. Keep moving like that. Inhaling up. Exhale to round your spine. And 1 more time. Inhale up. And exhale to round. Beautiful. Inhale, bring the arms up. As you exhale, twist to the opposite side. So you twist to the left. Right hand on the left knee or the left thigh. Left hand supports you. Inhale to find length. Exhale into your twist. Deep inhales, full exhales. And if you can, don't lose that connection to your feet. You know, notice how your feet feel. You probably kept your socks on, right? I'm probably the only one who's taken his socks off. But I like to feel grounded, right? I like to feel the earth beneath my feet. Is that a song? Probably. All right, inhale, come back to center. Sweep the arms all the way up again. Nice. Exhale, comb the arms all the way back down. So we're back here, just moving the arms. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. 1 more time, stay relaxed through the face. Inhale as you come up. And then this time, as you exhale, bring the hands together if you can, and then draw your hands down through your heart center. We'll do 1 more of those because it feels nice. All right, inhale up. And exhale, bring the hands down. Beautiful, nice. All right, hands come back onto your knees or your thighs. And then we're going to do something called Sufi grind or Sufi circle. So you're just going to draw circles with your torso, right? So the feet remain grounded. And you just kind of begin to circle your torso out. Maybe inhale as your chest comes forward. Maybe exhale as you round here back into the spine. So noticing how this feels in the lower spine, maybe in the hips. And you can come back the other way when you're ready. These might be really tiny little movements. What I do is I draw my attention here, right on my navel. I'm just noticing how I move from there. And it feels good. It feels like, you know, it's releasing little bits of tightness. As I say, we don't have to do huge amounts of work here, right? Just reconnecting to our body. We spend so much time living in it, but kind of not realizing the connection to it. So that's all we're doing today. Inhale back to center. And take a full exhale. Beautiful. I'm just going to readjust a little bit. Now we're going to move through the head. We're going to find the spine nice and long again. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. And then drop your chin down. Then maybe just rock your chin a little side to side. So if you were doing classes with me last year, you'll know a lot of this stuff is familiar. We like to kind of come back to some of these poses that we do. There's always some that appear every week, and we mix a few of them up. But I think a familiarity through your practice can be really kind of grounding in itself, kind of know where you're going sometimes. And we notice how the body changes as we repeat the same postures. Now, if you wanted to, please be very careful here. You might circle your head out. So you can inhale your head up, maybe exhale your chin down. And noticing any tight spots. I like to do all this stuff with my eyes closed. And then swap it back and come back in the opposite direction. And remember, one side might feel quite different to the other. So always be on the lookout and be cautious, right? Never kind of push too far. Beautiful. And inhale, bring your head back to center. And then take a full exhale. Nice work. Really nice work. Let's stretch our legs out. So we've got different ways of doing it. I'm just looking around because, yeah, I want to use some bands here. Now, you don't have to use a band, but I've started using bands more and more. So if you have bands, or maybe, you can use a belt or like a dressing gown cord or something like that. Don't worry if you don't have this right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to stretch through the back of the legs. Then we'll come back to the torso. We've got loads more stuff to do there. So you can do this in lots of ways. Let's build it slowly. So if you've got someone with you who can grab you something like, even if you've got like a jumper with arms or a tea towel, you can kind of pull on whatever it is. You'll work it out in a moment. All right, so just kind of bend the right leg in, lift the right foot. And that might be enough for you, right? You're just kind of moving the leg out very gently. Now, if you can make a basket grip around the knee, brilliant, all right? So you might be here. And then maybe just move that hip out just a little bit. So we think about this external rotation. Left foot stays nice and grounded, and then you're just moving your hip out. And then an internal rotation where the right knee comes over towards the left. You're just very gently moving the leg out. And then what you can do is you can just swap that out. So you can gently bring the right foot down, root down through the four corners of the right foot, maybe just kind of bring that left leg up. You can be here. You don't have to use the arms at all. It's your choice. Or you can bring a basket grip around the knee and kind of just move the hip out again. Maybe squeeze the knee in a little more. Maybe letting the knee drop. Nice external rotation, internal rotation. Simple movements, right? I should say, if you've got that strap, you can always, do this kind of thing and hold around the leg like this. So you kind of, in theory, you're elongating your arms, right? So you're not having to kind of pull too much. You can pick these up from lots of online stores for about £5 and you get different types of straps, right? I'll talk a little bit more about them next week. Bring that left foot down. And then what we're going to do is you're going to lengthen out through the right leg. So this is quite physical, right? Because it takes quite a lot to lift the right leg up. So you can make a basket grip around the back of the right leg, the right thigh, keeping your shoulders nice and relaxed and your spine long. If this feels too much, right, just stay with the leg bent. And then if you are using a strap of some sort, you can always do it this way by bringing the strap around the sole of the foot. And then look at that. That's magic, right? So you're getting a really good hamstring stretch. And then you can also move your leg out just a little bit. I think straps are really amazing. This one is classed as a medium tension strap. And they go up to kind of XX heavy. And there's light ones as well. So if you imagine, if you've got like a cord, or even if you've got a yoga strap, which some people have, or a dressing gown cord, you can do the same thing. You kind of keep the tension in the leg. All right. Depending on how you did that, it might be just here, right? You might not use a strap at all. Or if you're using a band like I am, maybe the band around that left foot. And then there's a lot of work you can do here. Maybe you just hold with one hand, right? So you can kind of just pull the foot in a little more. But the leg is straight. You have a little bend in the knee. You can move the leg out. For me, it's a nice stretch into my hip. I feel a stretch through the back of my leg, right? So it feels like a reasonable thing to do. I might kind of lengthen out and kind of move my hands down a little, but I'm trying to keep my spine nice and long. All right, I'm going to release that here. Now, you might be here using the hands. That's just as good. Bend back into the left knee. Join everyone else. Bring the soles of the feet all the way down, and then widen your feet out just a little bit. Press your hands onto your knees. So there's a little external rotation. So your knees are sort of tracking outwards, but you're rooting down through the four corners of your feet. So the feet remain nice and engaged, and then kind of bend into one elbow as you lengthen the other arm. Inhale back to center, and then come to the other side. So you're just finding this little releasing side stretch. Don't worry about what it looks like. Feel into the body. So this is an adapted, what we call goddess pose, right? Goddess is when the arms are here, but right now we're just kind of lengthening out through the spine. Little shoulder release, right, as we move from side to side. Beautiful, nice. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, just bring the feet underneath the knees again. Nice. So the knees and the feet are stacked. And then back to that familiar pose. Inhale to bring the hands all the way back up. As you exhale, frame the hands to your heart. We're going to do that 2 more times. So inhaling up, hands to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. Nice. From here, we're going to bring our hands onto our shoulders. So what we're going to do, you're going to bring the hands here. So little fingers at the front, thumbs at the back. Now, if that feels like it's out of your range of movement, that's fine. You can be here, right? So you can, this is what we call cactus arms, okay? So if you're here, you're just going to do a side bend, just like this, from side to side, so a lateral movement. And if you're here, you're doing exactly the same movement. So you inhale up to center, exhale to the side. Inhale to center, exhale to the side. So just get into your movement. And I say lateral movement, so you might feel this in between the intercostal muscles of the ribs, stretching down the side of the body. And we neglect that kind of movement, right? Don't worry about how low you go. Inhale to center, spine is long. Exhale into your side bend. You might feel this nice stretch into your outer hip as well. Beautiful. Stay relaxed to your face. Couple more times on either side. Inhale, come back to center, release the hands, give the arms a good shake out, give the fingers a good shake out. Nice, beautiful. And then we're going to shrug out through the shoulders. So the palms will be down. Inhale the shoulders up, exhale them down. So that's your movement. So I go quite quickly, but you might go slowly. I'll leave it up to you. So inhale, exhale. And we do a lot of work through the shoulders, we do a lot of work through the neck and the head, because these are areas that we can really build tension over time. We're just kind of releasing the tension from your body. That's it. And then I'm going to invite you just to inhale the shoulders up. Pause the breath. Exhale the shoulders down. Beautiful. All right, we'll do one more little movement and then we'll slow it right down with a little bit of breath work and then a little bit of shavasana at the end where we're just relaxing. So let's do this again. Hands back onto the shoulders, or the hands here, back into cactus. This time, without doing the lateral movement, we're going to go side to side into twist. So inhale to the left, root down through your feet, exhale to the right. So that's your movement. Now you might kind of move like this. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now you can go slower, you can go faster, it's your choice. But twisting the spine open. So you want to be, a little bit cautious here, especially if it's a new movement. But twisting the spine open, really good for us. Nice. A couple more times on either side. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, bring the hands down. A little shrug through the shoulders, maybe. Beautiful work. So we're going to be relatively still now for the rest of the class. We've got about 4 minutes to go. Maybe close your eyes. Now you can just keep breathing in and out through the nose or in and out through the mouth, or you can join me with some alternate nostril breathing. So you might need a little visual. You're going to use your right hand to block off your right nostril with your thumb, just like that. And then inhale through your left nostril. Close off your left nostril with your ring finger or little finger on the same hand. Exhale through the right. Inhale right. Close off right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close off left. Switch, exhale right. Inhale through the right nostril. Close it off, exhale through the left. Inhale left. Switch, exhale right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through your left. One more round, inhale left. Switch, exhale right. Inhale right. And switch, exhale left. Beautiful. We can bring that right hand down. Bring the hands, maybe the palms are up, maybe the palms are down. And we're going to just be here for a minute and a half or so. If you want to lean back into your chair, go for it. Maybe, as I say, close your eyes and just sit in this final relaxation pose. Just gently noticing the effects of your practice. And when you feel ready, just bring tiny little bit of movement back in. Maybe your fingers, maybe your toes wriggle out. If your eyes are closed, you might open your eyes. Maybe stretch the body out one final time. Maybe bring the arms above the head and give yourself a good stretch out if you can. Just noticing how you feel now. You know, half an hour of movement and awareness. Hopefully feeling a little bit more grounded than when you started. I guess that's the theme of the class tonight. Oh, sorry, the class this afternoon. Beautiful. And then bring the hands down. And then if you want, you can bring your hands into prayer. Press your thumbs into your sternum. And then with a wholehearted bow, just to wish yourself well, wish everybody else well. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Let me come a little bit closer. Thanks for practicing today. It's really nice to do that. The first one back, I've had a couple of weeks off, so well done. I didn't have the comments on. It's hard for me to read the comments because I'm miles away. But thank you to everybody who joined. There we go. I'm just looking at the comments. Thanks, Susan. Thanks very much. Great stuff. All right. I'm back here Thursday. I'll probably be at Space to Breathe, which doesn't mean a huge amount to you, but if you practice with me a lot, I'm part of a yoga collective in Leicester, and I use the amazing studio there. So I'll probably teach my mat-based class from Space to Breathe next Thursday, and then I'll be back here on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, keep joining. Thank you, Mo. Because it's like with yoga, I always find, don't always find this, but sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I did yoga. I ain't sure about it. It didn't do a lot for me. How many times did you go? Oh, 2 or 3. It's kind of like, it's a long journey, this stuff, right? So I think that little bits of practice, and I say it doesn't always have to be yoga. There's so much amazing content on the Virtual Village Hall. So I wholeheartedly encourage you to try as much or as little as you want, right? But maybe 3 or 4 a week. And remember, you can catch up with it all on YouTube. That's the way I do it. YouTube, all of the content's there. You can see what's coming. You can see what's been. You can sort of play around with the content. Facebook, obviously, that's where it all started. And then there's little snippets on things like TikTok. And you've never been on TikTok. But I've heard very good things about it. But you could think probably for the younger people, which I'm sure there's lots of. And there's also little tidbits on Instagram. And you always, on Instagram, I always see where the schedule is and you can see what's coming up. So thanks, Rachel. Thank you, Diana. It's really nice to be with you all this afternoon. I'll see you all later. I'll see you Thursday maybe, or I was going to say same time next week. It won't be the same time next week because this one moves from Monday to Tuesday. All right. Keep an eye on the schedule. Cheers, Trudy. Take care. Bye, everyone.